How do we stop overthinking? How many overthinkers are out there? I think a lot of you overthink. I'm sorry, our brains are tired. My husband cannot believe the amount of things happening in my brain in a given minute. And it's true. I think hard about everything. And sometimes I feel like I get stuck in a loop. And again, I have a whole book about this. Get out of your head. It is helpful. But I want this to be super practical right here. I want to give you my how-to. What do you do when you start overthinking? And so the 3 things I would say to you, if you feel like you're overthinking something, if you're in knots, if you feel all stressed out, I would say these 3 things are the first steps you can take to begin to untangle all of those thoughts and feelings. Number 1, a lot of times, if my mind is going and I can't even sort it out enough to process with someone, I will write it out. I will just jot it in my notes on my phone. These are the 5 things I'm worried about right now. I'll just make a little list. And sometimes just getting it put somewhere helps my brain rest. It doesn't have to work so hard because it's a placeholder. It's holding it somewhere else. I don't have to worry. And I kept it. It's not as if I'll forget all those things. I can come back to them in an organized way. And if you look at the Psalms, it's exactly what David did. He's writing. He's singing. He's writing these beautiful songs. And so much of it is his own way of getting to the hope and the promises of God. But to get there, he goes through all of the untangling of his struggle. He says it. This is what I'm mad about. This is what I'm sad about. This is what I'm feeling. Help me. And then by the end, he probably feels a little less nauseous, a little less tense, and there's a freedom in that. And then number 2, process it out loud, just like I did this morning. Say it to someone. And I would make sure you have the friends. Maybe it's your mama. Maybe it's someone that is a really safe place for you that's a friend. Maybe it's a coworker. Someone that knows sometimes I'm going to call you and I'm just going to need to process. You don't have to fix it. Just listen, hear me out. I'll land in a different place than I begin. So number 1, write it down. Number 2, process it with someone. And then number 3, pray. Prayer is an organic thing. It should happen as you are going throughout your day. Prayer happens when you're with people and not even closing your eyes and talking directly to God. Prayer is happening as we are together. Where 2 or more are gathered, God is with us. And so those conversations that you're having with your friends, stop thinking of them as God is not there. God is with you. God is there. He's in the midst of the conversation with you. I remember when Kurt Thompson taught me this, a bunch of us were together and we'd been talking about difficult things for a long time, and somebody stopped and said we should pray about this, and he kind of put his hands down and said, hey, just so you know, God's been with us this whole time. He's heard all of this. He's processed all of this with you this whole time. Let's just give this whole conversation to him as prayer. And it was so helpful because that's what I feel like happened this morning. My morning started chaotically. I missed an appointment with a friend. I got on the phone dealing with some of the things that happened last night. It did not go the way I planned. I did not pray this morning specifically about any of the things we're talking about. But as I processed them with my friends, I had God's perspective as we came to the end of that conversation. And they never said, this is how you should feel or this is how you should think. God was leading me even in the sharing of that with people that I felt safe to share it with. So sometimes, guys, there is a time for fixing the problem. But sometimes there is just a untangling all the different thoughts and feelings, setting them out and going, okay, I think I'm going to be okay. God, we're going to be okay? I think we're going to be okay. And just taking the chaos of it all and setting it out and looking at it, whether it's through writing or whether it's through processing with friends, it feels a lot more doable.